Hey, what's going on? I am Jennifer Brown,
And you're tuned into
The Perspective, a show where we discuss candidly and share openly about thought-provoking topics that affect our community.
Tune in every Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on KBOB 89.9 FM. You are now tuned in to The Perspective. Hello, and welcome to The Perspective. I am Jen Brown. We are back for another episode, and it's going to be a great one, y'all. I'm excited. But welcome to Wednesday night, hump day, all that good stuff. Hope you guys are having an amazing week thus far. But I just want to say thank you for coming back and watching us and tuning in and supporting us. So I have two wonderful guests in the studio today, and we're gonna just chop it up just a little bit. So, ladies, how's your week been?
It's been good.
It's been good.
Halfway there.
We almost there. Yes,
Yeah.
almost there.
They've been real great. New transitions taking place.
Oh yeah,
Moving forward.
you got some things coming up for you, huh?
Oh yeah.
You're an educator,
Mhm.
and you are doing something different. What are you doing?
Well, I am leaving TPS. I've been with TPS for, oh my God, over 17 years. Started off at McLean High School, went to Burroughs. Um, until Friday, I'm at Sauk Elementary, where I'm a site coordinator for the Before and After Learning program, which unfortunately is shutting down. But I am going to go to Broken Arrow to be a site manager there for their Before and After Learning program.
Oh, okay, good. Congratulations. I see that elevation.
Hey.
Hey.
Yes. So I'm proud of you. That's great. That's great. So for many that don't know, Jackie and I used to work together, and um, we had a lot of fun together.
Yeah. She had to
Yeah.
encourage me to step outside of my box.
Yeah,
So,
and she did a lot of encouraging of me not to hurt somebody.
Amen.
I had that person to talk me down. so yes. So we have Miss Paige in the studio. Hi, Miss Paige. How
Hello.
are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a great week.
Mm-hmm.
This is my birthday week.
What?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I
Happy
turned
birthday! Happy birthday! Wait,
I
let me
turned
see.
30 on Friday.
Oh,
So in 2 days.
you about to cross over into
I'm
them
about to
30s.
cross over.
Woo, okay, them 30s was good for me.
Yeah.
I enjoyed my 30s.
Yeah, they
These
were good.
40s, boy, I feel like 40 pounds showed up at my door.
Oh
and was
my
like,
my.
Oh, y'all,
hello, here I
y'all are
am,
young. You gotta wait till you get to 50.
and I ain't
Okay.
going nowhere.
Come
I'm
on.
knocking on 55 my next birthday.
What? 55?
55 where?
I need to see some ID. I don't believe that. 55. Wow. You look good.
Thank you.
Wow. So you got any exciting plans for your birthday?
Yes. So I am having a whole weekend extravaganza.
Okay.
Having a dinner on Friday night. Saturday morning, we're getting together for a walk. Just walking by faith, walking into the 30s. So my friends will go on a walk, we'll pray, do a little game night on Saturday night. And then Sunday, we'll go to church together. And I'm doing a service project to make feminine care kits and different hygiene kits for the homeless population in Tulsa.
All
So,
right.
It'll be a good weekend.
Listen, you doing the thing. I see you.
Going on
I
like
see
it.
you. Well, for those that don't know, and if you've been following me, you do know, I have done something great that I'm excited about, that I'm very proud of. I have just become an author.
Yes.
So my journal, it is a 90-day guided manifesting journal, and it guides you through 90 days of you activating your manifesting faith. It is faith based, so I tell people you're gonna have the word on it. You got to put the word on it. So just expect that. But it is a great way for you to activate that manifesting faith that you have, and to receive those things that you've been desiring, that you've been wanting. And the guided journal, it takes you through, I have what's called the methods to manifestation, and it will guide you through making sure that you have healthy emotions as you begin the process. uprooting all those negative things, those negative thoughts, the negative self-talk that oftentimes hinder you from really getting those things that you truly desire. We hear all the time that our words are powerful, and they are extremely powerful. And I tell people too, you're manifesting all the time,
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
good or bad, with your thoughts or with what's in your heart or what's coming out your mouth. So make it good.
I wholeheartedly agree with that, especially with me having depression sometimes.
hmm
I find myself finding bad thoughts, and I have to remember that it's just a state of mind that I can overcome.
Oh
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. We have control. I think we have to be reminded of the authority that we have.
Come
Yeah.
on.
We
That's
have to
it.
be reminded of, that we got
Mhm.
we got some authority here. So keep it in mind. Whenever those things come to mind, you just think positive.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's not it doesn't work for people, and I don't want to like downplay anyone's like depression or anything like that, because you can easily say think positive thoughts.
Yeah.
That doesn't always work.
Yeah, it's hard.
It
It's
doesn't
hard.
always work. So it has to be a strategy to it. It has to be, you got to have that support. You got to have the right people on your team
Most definitely.
to help you. And so if you're in that place, definitely reach out.
Yeah.
I always encourage counseling,
Oh, yeah.
therapy, all that good stuff.
Mhm.
I have a shirt that says I pray and go to therapy.
Come on.
It's real though.
We need therapy and theology.
Listen. So yes, so I'm excited. Excited about my book, and it's been doing well. Thank you for the support of the people that have been purchasing it, and yeah, ooh. So I released it in 2023. I haven't really marketed it because the whole release was just to say, you need to do this. You need to see that you had a deadline and you got to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So the marketing and the promotion, it is coming.
Come
so
on.
I'm excited about that.
Congratulations.
Way to go.
Thank you. So we have a great show in store for you guys tonight. We will be talking about navigating within the LGBTQ plus community, identities and faith. We hear a lot about the different rights that the community has. We hear a lot about discrimination, all the things that go along with that. And we hear how some churches are they're just not open to the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so tonight we are here to talk about how important it is for us to have those eyes and see those people as people, human beings that are standing in front of us, like another human being, breathing human being that lives and breathes just like you, that's gonna die just like you, and understanding, that we may not be in agreement with our lifestyles, but just remind them that they are human, that they are seen, that they are valued. So tonight I have in the studio, I have Miss Paige. She's going to be sharing her story about her life and her connection with the community. And then I have Miss Jackie in the studio, and she's going to be sharing her story about her young daughters and their experience, and she has experience as a parent. So we wanna go ahead and dive right in, but I want to I want to read this here before we dive in. It says the relationship between religion and the LGBTQ community is a complicated one, and everyone experiences it differently. Historically, many religions have treated the community of people very harshly, but over the last few years, more churches have been opening their doors to the LGBT community, and more leaders are publicly recognizing the different sexual orientations and gender identities. But of course, despite, all of that, all of the majority of the U.S. that's, you know, favoring that and loving it, a lot of faith groups are still discriminating. A lot of faith groups are still holding those conservative ideas about marriage and sexuality. So tonight we're here. We're gonna eliminate a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to eliminate a lot of that and just hear the hearts of, you know, the hearts of these ladies. And I hope that it would change your heart, change your mind as we go through this interview. So, Miss Paige, please tell the audience who you are and what you do, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Paige. I am here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. I work at a ministry here in Tulsa, and I help get people connected to small groups.
Okay, good. And Miss Jackie, you shared a little bit about what you do. You're an educator, and you about to elevate to your next.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Outside of the educator, what else do you do?
Well, I am a mother of 6, 5 girls, 1 boy.
Woo!
Like I said, 2 of my 2 youngest girls are bisexual. I have, in education, I run across them, bisexual, gay. And it just is amazing, some of the negativity that they face. So as a mother and as an educator, I tell them it's okay to be who they are. It's important that they know who they are is who they are, but also it's that part of ownership. So I try to teach them the ownership about it as well. If you're going to put it out there, own it.
Yeah.
Don't step away from it.
Yeah.
I try to explain to them, not everybody's going to see it and understand it the way that your mother or somebody else may, so be ready for it. So I just try to bring the educational piece to it, and our women working in education open my eyes up to it more, to understand it more, to be accepting of what my children had to tell me.
Oh wow, that's good. And I think for you as an educator, excuse me, as an educator, you carry a lot of weight with when you have those conversations with these young people. You carry a lot of weight when they are telling you like, hey, this is what's happening, the bullying, the unacceptance, or the kicking out of the house because the parents are not in agreement, or kicking out of the church, you know, a place where you've grown up and it's been your foundation, and they're like, no more, you know, you're not welcomed here. So I can only imagine the weight that you carry, because every day is not sunshines and stars and flowers. You're not running through the fields, but it's real life things that are happening, especially to these young people. Young people.
My daughter was actually, I think before she even told me, she had kind of felt it out a little bit, and kids started bullying her so much to the point that she no longer wanted to live. She no longer wanted to be here.
Oh, wow.
She attempted suicide several times. We had to go through that whole motion, and she didn't tell me until she got in high school. And I refused to be one of those parents to say, you don't know what you're talking about, shut up, go away from me. Because when you do a child like that that's coming to you with something of who they are, and you dismiss them, you're not just dismissing them emotionally, but you're dismissing them as a human being. And that just makes it worse for them. She told me, I took a breath, and, you know, I told her how I felt about it. You know, at that time in high school, it was 1 minute some of the kids were, 1 minute they wasn't, you know, it was like a fad.
Yeah.
You know, and I did express to her that, you know, if this is a fad, it's a fad. If it's not, I'm going to love you anyway. Be who you are, but be ready to own it. Don't put it out there unless you are ready to own what you are saying, who you are. And I stood by her, helped her dad adjust through it. It was hard, you know, and then I did say something, you know, I told her, while in my house, my preference is you date boys, you know, while you're in my house. But that was just me trying to settle into what she had told me. After I settled into it and she was truly who she said she was, I became comfortable with it. I became comfortable with her. And whoever she wanted to date, she dated. But it was still that mama thing. If I don't think they right for you, boy or girl, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to do them any different. And she accepted that, which made it easier to build that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I go to the gay pride with her. You know, I wear that gay pride shirt. I do. It's you gotta love them. They're yours. Um, you gotta love them as a parent. How can you? I don't understand how you cannot, because your child is expressing to you something.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how you.
So what
No.
what has been your experience with the church? You know, I know that that's your foundation. What has that been like?
I'm gonna be honest. My church, I was going to disband it, but I was going to stop going to that church because he preached on the wrongness and the bad aspects of it, the negative aspects of it, and I could look back and see the look on my child's face to see how uncomfortable it made her. But she continued to come to church because that's what I wanted, was family to be at church. But I had to sit down with that pastor and say, my daughter is who she is. I'm not going to ask her to change because of what you believe, but the pulpit is not a place to deliver that message, because she's human, she has feelings, and right now you're degrading her.
Yeah.
And that's what these pastors that do this, they don't understand. It's a moment of degrading. You are passing judgment onto someone else, and it's not our place to judge anybody. That's the place for the Lord God or whomever you serve. It's not our place to judge. So who is a pastor, because you're in a pulpit, to stand there and degrade somebody? If you don't approve, you don't approve, but some things are just opinions and need to be kept to yourself. The pulpit in the church is not where that needs to be displayed.
Right, right. And I feel like a lot of churches have done that, especially the Southern Baptists. And I would say that it's tough because I feel like a lot of social issues that the church don't agree with is talked about in the pulpit. And I think pastors now are kind of grabbing a hold of, like, no, don't do that, because that's the appropriate thing to do. It's not to, like that saying, come as you are. Well, if you're telling people to come as you are,
But then
don't be looking at it like, okay, well, I didn't tell you to come like that, but you come as you are, and
Exactly.
allow that work to be done.
Yeah.
So Ms. Paige, your story is a little different. Please share with us what your experience has been.
Yeah, so I was a member of the LGBT community. I identified as a pansexual. So what that meant is I dated people despite what their gender identity or gender expression was. I did have a partner who identified as transgender. And for me, I knew that I had same-sex attraction maybe at 5 or 6.
Oh, wow.
And so I was exposed very early on to things that children shouldn't be watching. I was inappropriately touched by like a young girl, and so it just woke up a lot of curiosity with like same-sex attraction. And for me, I had always felt like longing to go to church. I always felt like I knew God was real. I knew that he loved me, but I had a secret. And so I would go to the altar at 7 years old, 8 years old, like going to the altar, but not being able to like verbalize to anybody that I had same-sex attraction, because I knew that it was not approved of. And so when I moved to North Carolina, I joined the church, and the bishop there was very like fire and brimstone. Like, I was doing the salvation prayer every single Sunday because I was scared that if I died in my sleep, that because I was gay, that I was going to go to hell. And so I kind of suffered through that. There were other great things about the church, but I was always nervous that we could be talking about anything. In some way, homosexuality was going to come up. And so I left the church and I went to college, and I thought I was so free. I started drinking, just doing what we think college life is. And I knew that I had that same-sex attraction, but I had dated a boy in high school. So for me, I thought it was just like a secret that I'll keep forever. Like, I never thought it was going to turn into anything. Until senior year of college, I had my first girlfriend, kind of sort of stumbled into it. And then from there, just progressed. I dated somebody who was transgender. When I graduated college, I went to a graduate school. I started a Pride conference at the graduate school that I was going to. And I just became very, like, pro gay rights. Just like, as we talked about, these are people. And so whether you agree with it or not, or whether at some point we have to interact, whether it's a family member, a coworker, somebody that we see in the community, to me, I didn't understand how, if we love God and he tells us to love our neighbors as ourselves, why we're treating people so terrible to the point that they want to commit suicide.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To the point that they are going crazy, like to the point that they have isolated themselves in such a way. And so went through that. I ended up feeling very church hurt. So after I left the church in high school, I never really went back until 2019. I had just got to a point in my life where I had hit such rock bottom that my only option was God. I was almost 400 pounds. I had just broke up with my girlfriend at the time. Like, it was just
A lot going on.
a lot going on. And I ended up one of my friends sent me Transformation Church. So it's a church here in Tulsa. And I apprehensively watched it because I'm expecting, this is a church, it's a pulpit, like, there's going to be something negative said about homosexuality. And it was the complete opposite. It was, even if you smoked a blunt last night, even if you're smoking a blunt right now while you're watching this, God accepts you. Like, he wants your heart, not your habits. And so for me, like, I spent months trying to find fault with this church before I, like, fully got, like, locked in and committed. And so since 2019, as I've just gotten closer to God, I've found my true identity in him. And he's been able to help me. It's been 2 years that I've been sober now. He's able to, like, just help me be delivered and understand that, like, I have a choice. I felt like because I had dated women, I had to be gay forever. And it was like, no, you have a choice. Like, you can submit to God and he can change your preferences. And so that was my experience in the community.
Wow. You mentioned something about church hurt, and there is something called religious trauma.
Yeah.
And they're actually working to get it into the DSM-5. Therapists are working because they're saying that religious trauma, it is a real thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not able to fully be themselves, and they've experienced so much trauma to where, like you said, there's suicide,
Yeah.
or they just isolate themselves to a point where they don't walk in purpose, they don't show up for life, and they just dwindle away. You know, and sometimes people will hold on to that thought of, like, if I kill myself, I'm gonna go to hell, because I know a lot of pastors taught that back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, no, you know. But that, you know, that religious trauma, and for those that don't know what it is, religious trauma occurs when a person's religious experience is stressful, degrading, dangerous, abusive, or damaging. Traumatic religious experiences may harm or threaten to harm someone's physical, emotional, mental, sexual, or spiritual health and safety. And like I said, the DSM-5 is trying to get that in there because it is a real thing. So when you were in church, did someone try to tell you, well, you didn't really talk about it in church?
So, yes and no. Like, when I would go down to the altar, they would ask what I needed prayer for. And depending on if my comfort level with the individual, I would say same-sex attraction, or at the time, even like pornography, whatever it was, I would say. And it almost felt like conversion therapy. Like, not as like intense as it has been for other people, but it was just like, yeah, I could tell that I wasn't accepted, and it was just like Holy Spirit, like, it was conversion therapy. Like, it was God is not going to accept you with being in that community. Like
Yeah.
we need you to convert.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was, I would definitely say that was traumatic.
Yeah, I can see what she's saying because same thing with my daughters. They go down there, and they would, they like to put hands on you and pray for you, but it was the way in which it was done. Release this demon, get this evil spirit out of this child. That's at one point in time I just told my kids, don't go up there. No, that's we just not gonna go to the altar. We just and Bitchy, my baby, stopped going to church, and I didn't make her go because that's what it was. It just, and I slowly stopped going. So I've been looking for a church home that's accepting of all people, no matter what. That there's no judgment. Because like you said, come as you are.
Yeah. And I want to just say, conversion therapy is not therapy.
It's not.
It is not therapy that is licensed for anyone to have a conversation with you about. It's actually illegal, I think, in some states. I believe California. It's illegal. And it's a real thing where people are really trying to change your thought process and scare you to a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's unhealthy and it's very dangerous because a lot of people that are doing this, they have no background in counseling. They have no background to understand what the after effects are going to be, and they're doing this, and they're starting young.
Yeah.
They're starting young, and I know, looking at everything now, and I want to hear from both of you. Looking at everything now, it seems like the community is more comfortable in expressing who they are. And back in the day, we didn't have as many young people that talked about it. What do you think has changed from back in the day to today? What do you think has changed that has allowed people to be more open, especially the younger people?
Yeah.
What do you think has contributed to that?
I think society just, even though everybody is not accepting, people are more accepting now than I feel like even when I was like in middle school and high school. Like it was just a secret you kept. It wasn't something, there was a few people that were out and about it, but it was like, it was a secret you kept because I had friends whose parents kicked them out of the house. I had friends who had to go and find other places to live, or like people were getting beat up at school. Like it was just not the thing to do. And I think now with Gen Z, with everything with TikTok and social media, and like the biggest thing with the LGBT community is community. And so it's not just what we call them, but when you're a part of that, you are literally a part of a community. Like people that can band together because you've had, which is sad, you've had a lot of negative experiences. And so you band together in this community and you feel fully accepted. And so I think overall society has just changed. People are more comfortable. And even when you were talking about ownership, people are like, I am who I am.
Exactly.
Like at this point, I'm not going to keep living in this closet. I'm not going to keep, they're just feeling bolder. I do think that there is also a spiritual side of all of this. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that's changed is just society.
Yeah.
That people are more comfortable talking about it now.
Yeah, society, and like you said, they show things on TV that they didn't used to show. So their community has more now to look at and flow to it that resembles who they are. That has allowed them that comfortability level to say, hey, if this person can get out here on this TV show and be who they are, how come I can't be who I am right here in my own space? And then every generation is different. They're bolder, like she said, they're bolder. They don't care, too much what people have to say. They're going to be them. They have that fight to live their life, and that fight to be, they don't care if you like them or don't like them, want to be around them or not. They're going to be who they are. I mean, from joining the cheer squad, the dance squad, or whatever, you know. I think ballet really kind of started more of them saying, hey, look at this young man in tights. He's, you know, doing him. And because, you know, ballet is where you really first started seeing someone who was gay or in that community. And then it broadened from there to dance. And then it went from dance to the cheer squad, where you got the young men out there doing the cheering and flipping. And hey, I mean, you know, I'm going to say, and some people are probably going to get mad, but it is what it is. I prefer to be around people in the LGBTQ because they're friendlier, they're more respectful, they're down to earth.
Yeah.
I mean, they are so down to earth. I mean, and it just amazes me. So I thank my daughter for allowing me into her world because it's her world. It's where she lives. And for my daughter under her to feel comfortable, to want to be the same, and it's a good thing. I enjoy being around them more than I do, as some people might say, well, regular people.
Regular.
I'm like, don't knock it till you try it. Stop putting people down because you're afraid or you don't understand. And that's where it comes from, fear of not understanding, fear of not knowing. Well, throw that fear to the side. Sit down and have a conversation and get to know that person. And then their choice of sexuality, which is really nobody's business in the first place, is going to ease that comfort.
Yeah.
Because I really, you know, it was a learning process for me. I went through this with my daughter as a learning process, and I still learn and still got it. But society has played a lot into it. The generations of, you know, being raised different from how we were being raised, and seeing things on TV that just weren't shown
Before,
when we were growing up.
So I want to ask you, being an educator, a lot of young people are experiencing things for the first time, like falling in love. They gonna be with their boyfriend forever. Like, this is who they gonna marry.
My goodness.
They gonna have a little house, a little dog, and life is gonna be great. But they're experiencing, you know, these emotions for the first time. Do you find that it has been a trend for those young people that says, oh yeah, I'm gay, or yeah, I love women, I'm a lesbian? Do you find it has been a trend for some kids? Do you think they're exploring, or they are just really struggling with the identity?
I'm going to go and I'm going to say this. Because even at a young age, I mean, in my program right now, I've got a fourth grader who is who he is going to be. And I can't say it's fair because he's who he is. He shows it. He expresses it more so at school than he does at home. Because that comfort level, like she said, is not there. But it's not a fad anymore. When they decide that they are who they are, it's who they are. And the struggle is with getting everyone to accept them for who they're going to be. But once they pass that struggle, it's pretty much just on. I've got a kindergarten kid who is displaying, you know, that imagery, and parents are fighting against it, and I just sit back and I look because, you know, the look on that baby's face every time, you know, they're picked up, it's like the heart is breaking. And I feel sorry for that kid because he's a baby, basically. But in my opinion, when they're distributing those traits at that young of an age, they are who they are. And trying to change them as they grow older is only going to do damage. It's going to put them in that unhealthy mental space. And it's just not good. So it's not a fad. They're coming out and they are truly who they want to be, and they want to be accepted. They want to be loved.
That's good.
Yeah. One thing he said that really broke my heart is just like you enjoy and prefer like being around the LGBT community because they're kinder, because they're nicer. Like I think about it from the viewpoint of like being a believer. You're supposed to know someone is a believer by their fruit. They're supposed to be displaying the fruits of the spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, like self-control. Like believers, we are the people that people want to be around. You know what I mean? Or that they should. And it's just like I think the church and believers, we push people to this place of condemnation, even though the word literally says there is no condemnation for those who are in Christ. So we're pushing people into shame and like judging them and telling them that they're wrong, when it's like these people are people. They're down to earth. Like this is one facet of what they feel like their identity is. This is not all who they are. I know when I was going through my process, I'm like, God, you do not have me on this earth just to make me stop being homosexual. Like that's not, you did not create me. You did not look at me and say I am good just because you want to have me as a project or something to change. That's not it. I'm your preferred daughter. Like I'm someone you created. And so it's just like my heart just breaks thinking like as believers we are supposed to love. We're supposed to go out into the world and make disciples. God did not put a stipulation on who we're supposed to reach.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to reach the lost and the found. Like, and even more so now, people are seeking God.
Yeah.
Even in the LGBT community, people who are addicted to drugs, people who have been to prison and now they're out, people who are not the traditional cookie cutter believers that we think they're supposed to be, they're coming seeking refuge. And if we're in the church and we are, oh no, you can't smell like that coming in the church. You can't wear your pants like that coming in the church. You can't wear nose rings, or you can't come in here holding hands with your girlfriend. You don't know what God is doing in their life.
Right.
You don't know if this is their last final attempt. And it's like we as believers don't need to be stumbling blocks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether you accept it or not, God has them on this earth for a reason.
And, and what preachers who don't know, like for me as a parent, you know, when they found out that my daughter was bisexual, you know, they want to have these individual conversations and they want to tell me pray for her healing. Well, you know, she doesn't need healing. What does she need healing from? You know, that was my question. Tell me, what does she need healing from? Well, she needs deliverance from that spirit. What spirit? Because the only spirit I see is the spirit of the Lord. And I encourage her to be who she is. And after some point in time, like I said, I just stopped going because I was being made to feel as if I was a bad parent for allowing my child to be who she was going to be. And I got tired of feeling that way. And my husband got tired of feeling the same way too. So we just stopped, you know, going. Like I said, I'm looking for a place where we can be as a family without the judgment and the harshness and the cut of the eyes. You know how they look at you, you know, at the side of the eyes, and you know, just be who we are.
Come on.
Yeah, you know, like, you know, the whispers. We're gonna whisper, you know, all that. So, like I said, they just need to know that they're doing more damage than they think they are. They're trying to be helpful, I get that, but the way in which they're going about it, it doesn't have acceptance in it. And when you don't have acceptance in dealing with anything religious and you don't have the acceptance in it, then you're doing harm. You're doing mental harm. You're doing bodily harm. And it just hurts more than just that person. It actually hurts your church because that's a church that I'm never going to go back to. It's got a negative view. So if someone asks me about that church, it's going to be negative.
Be like, well, if you're a sinner, you can't go there.
Yeah, there's no delivery.
You can't go there.
You know, you have no
you
hope
gotta
here
be
at this
perfect.
church.
So we all know just a few weeks ago, there was national attention put on Owasso for that young student that unfortunately lost their lives. because someone didn't agree with their lifestyle. And I don't know the story in depth, but I will say this person's name, next Benedict. And you got parents that are grieving now because they lost their child, because that child showed up as who they thought they were. You know, I wanted to bring you both on and have this conversation because you are experiencing it with your daughter right now. You are out of the community and just you are now believing God for a husband. You know, and I wanted to get both perspectives because people need to see that even though we may not be in the same place in life, we still can respect each other.
Very much so.
You know, I don't smoke, but I don't shun people that smoke. You know, I don't look at it and be like, you're gonna go to hell. You know, and then some people may look at me because I drink wine. Some people may look at me like, oh, you shouldn't get drunk off the wine. I don't. You know, so all these things, but it's one of those things where we just, I think Paige said it earlier, just to remind you that that's a human being. That's another person, you know, and we have to be respectful, very respectful. But this young student lost their lives, their life, because of, and I think that's the most difficult thing a parent can experience.
It's the loss of a child.
The loss of a child, on top of all of the things that child had to endure with the decision or what they thought was right, you know. So it's always disheartening. If you're just joining us, we are talking about navigating through the LGBT community and their identities and their faith. And I have Miss Paige here, where she has shared her story where she was once in the community. And then I have a parent here whose daughters are in the community now. And out of respect, I don't want to say community because I don't want to mess up the letters. I don't want it to come across I'm like not being respectful, but I say community because that is a community. You know, that's where the acceptance is for a lot of them, you know. And one of the things that I've found that a lot of a lot of young people now, they are creating places and spaces for them to be able to serve, to be able to express their emotions and their spirituality. So they're opening up different churches. Pastors are accepting it more, and it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening, y'all. No matter what, it's happening. A few years ago, we did a show on this, and we had Bishop Carlton Pearson on.
Oh, wow.
And it was, we all know the story behind, you know, Bishop. And if you're from Oklahoma, we all know. And I think the one thing that got me is that this man loved.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't know anything else about him, you knew that he loved people. And he was going to love you past anything you had going on. And people did not like that. And I didn't understand that.
That's because, in my opinion, excuse me, people spend too much time not remembering that none of us are perfect.
Come on.
They want to spend time on joining the social cue of what they assume to be right, which is anything, in other words, anything that they're not into is not right. They want to judge. They get stuck in that realm of judgment, and they don't stop to take that look back and say, I'm not perfect. I got things I need to work on. I need to stop. It's straight ahead. And that's the sad part. That's the part that people have to get away from. Open up your mind. Let your fears go and be in the moment. Because in this moment, at where we are now, this day and age, it's coming out. It's here. they're not going anywhere. They are a part of our society, and they need to be accepted as just that, a part of a society. Human beings that bleed like we do, that breathe the same air that we do, that die like we do. The only thing different is their sexual preference. And at the end of the day, it's nobody's business. Who you love, how you love, where you love, it's nobody's business. I think as humans, we spend too much time worrying about what it looks like versus how it is. Like I said, for me, I was looked at as a mother who's allowing their child to live outside the realm of what they think is godly, versus looking at me as a parent who is supporting her children, being there for her children, and guiding her children through this the best that she knows how to, by being in that learning process. And it's, I mean, this is how you have to open your mind up to it. Stop being, I mean, what you're afraid of, because you hang around and you're going to become one. I mean, you're going to be who you are. They're going to be who you are. Accept them. They accept us. So it's time that we accept them.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have something to add?
Yeah, I just think there was a lot of things with Bishop Carlton Pearson, like rest his soul. But I think the biggest thing is like, because he was so loving, that's so countercultural. Like in our culture, we get excited, like to be rude to people. Like when stuff goes viral, you know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh yeah, like people are in the comments on social media and doing all the things. And so whether you agreed with his complete theology or not, like you said, he was loving. Like he loved. You saw that fruit of the Spirit on him. And I just think, with society today, we are, especially believers. I can't necessarily talk about the people who are in the world, like, but for believers, as we're talking about this LGBT community and faith, like as believers, our main focus and priority should be picking up our cross daily and following Christ.
Come on now.
Yeah. We are so, the Bible says do not look to the left or to the right. Like we're looking to the left and the right, worrying about what someone else may be stumbling and dealing with, rather than like, what are those secret things you're taking to Christ?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that you don't want anyone to know that God is trying to prune off of you so that you could bear more fruit?
Yeah.
And
What's your closet?
What's
Yeah,
your,
what you hide, your secrets.
And the thing is, it's so easy to deflect. It's so easy to be like, look at them, look at them, look at them. Because you don't want nobody looking at you and your shoes untied and your pants not together.
Yeah, it's
like,
easy to put the focus on somebody else, get the spotlight off of you, because you don't want to focus on what you need to take care of.
Yeah.
So
and we
deflection.
we never arrive until we meet our Maker. So we are in this consistent, continual, Lord, check my heart. If there's anything that is unlike you, take it out. And so when we're not focused on what our walk with Christ looks like, we're not producing, we're not just spending time being with him, then it's easy to look and criticize somebody else. It's like, all that time you spending over there, have you been obedient to God?
Exactly.
Have you done what he's asked you to do?
What was the last thing you did he told you to do?
Yes.
You know?
Who have you impacted? You're looking at the negative. But like, what in your sphere of influence have you impacted? And I think we're just, the church, people in general, we're so focused on the wrong thing.
The wrong things. All the wrong things. I remember going to a church, and it was, I think it was a temple, not church. And the rabbi, this is my first time in there. I'm with a family friend. First time in there, they're Hebrew Israelites. And the rabbi got up and he was like talking about the dress code. And he said, if a woman comes in here right now with some pants on, I'm turning her around and sending her right back out there in the streets. Because you don't come in and be out of order. And I was like, wow. I was like, so pants is an issue? Like, But what if that woman needed some help?
And that's all
What
she
if
had.
what if she came because that's what she heard is going to help her, that's going to help her get out of that pit? You're turning her away
Yeah.
Because she got pants on.
over some pants.
Okay.
And as you said, we're focused on the wrong things all the time, focused on the wrong things. So, um, so we have about 10 minutes left, and I wanted to I wanted to touch on this, and I know this is not your experience, either one of your experiences, but someone brought it to my attention, and they wanted to have a discussion around it, and I was like, I don't know what to say. But for the transgenders, the ones that decide to have the sex change, the question was, what do they do when they rededicate their life to God?
Mhm.
You know, what do they do when they realize that you were who you were created to be from the beginning? And I didn't know how to answer that question. And it's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. And my thought process is just like, there's consequences to everything. So if you make that decision and change of heart, that's going to be, unfortunately, the consequence, and it doesn't have to be one of those things where you look at it and say it's negative,
Yeah.
but it's, if I had a child out of wedlock, and you can have children out of wedlock and not be financially stable, and then you're constantly going through, this financial issue,
Yeah.
and your child don't have what they need, and it's that's a consequence, a decision that you made. But I didn't know how to answer that question, and my heart is like, I really would like to speak to someone, on it, to find out, where they're at.
Yeah. It's not my experience, but I follow a few people on Instagram, on YouTube, who that was their experience.
Oh, wow.
And some of them have had top surgery, and so their breasts were removed. They were living life as a trans man, so born a woman, living as a man, and gave their life back to Christ. And now they are married to a man. They now live life as a woman, like that they were born as a woman. And so, just from listening to their testimony, it's just more so like when the Bible says, he that is in Christ is a new creation. The old has passed away. And so Revelation 12:11, it says that we overcome him of the world by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so, although that might not have, they're looking at it now as that wasn't the right decision. It happened. It's now a part of their story. It's now a part of who they are.
Yes.
And so they have whole ministries now, like reaching out to people and just sharing, their story to that community. And it's just like, there are a lot of things that we did in our past that now we don't do that anymore.
Right.
Like,
right.
now that's not our desire. Now what we did 10, 15, 20 years ago, we wouldn't make that same decision now.
Right.
And so, whereas you might not be able to see physically all those decisions that I made back then, for them, that is different. A lot of times people, you can't generalize, but at least the people's testimonies I've seen, they wish that they wouldn't have done it. But when they were in that community, they truly felt like that's who
That's
they
what
were.
yeah.
When you're in the world and in your flesh, everything feels good. Like your flesh is controlling. But there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about if a man doesn't have the Spirit, it's seen as foolish. Like, you can only understand the things of the Spirit if you have the Holy Spirit. And so once you rededicate your life and you have the Holy Spirit, like, he makes all things new, even if it's spiritually, not physically, but it's part of your story, it's part of your testimony.
That's good.
Yeah, I like
And that, like, really, that helps me, because I think when we talk about our tagline here at KBOB, we give a voice to the voiceless. What you just said,
Gives them that
for
voice.
someone that just don't have a voice for it, don't know, like, they're in that place, you just gave it a voice. Like, and then you just helped me you know, because like I said, I don't ever want to come across that I am being disrespectful, and that's with anybody. You know, I love people.
Yeah.
You know, um, I accept who you are, but if you are, when I think about, because I have a counseling background, when I think about certain races, you know, there's certain races that you don't look them directly in the eye when you're being introduced to them. They feel that's disrespectful, but that's their world.
Yeah.
That's what they do in that country, and so I want to be respectful to those who are standing in front of me, because our lifestyles are not the same. Our lifestyles are different. We didn't grow up the same, you know. Um, so it's important that we just keep that in mind, that this is another human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you spoke on it because I was like Jennifer. I've never experienced that. I've never come across someone who's made a decision and then later um, changed their minds about it. So, like Jennifer said, you gave them a voice and you just educated a lot of people.
Yeah,
Praise God.
You
that's
really
good.
did.
That's good. So in our last few minutes, what would you, Jackie? I want you. We have about 4 minutes, 30 seconds. I want you to talk to the parents who are experiencing what you experienced in the beginning. I want you to give them a word.
This is the advice I have for those parents out there that have children who are expressing that they are gay, bisexual, or whatever the case may be. Don't make that mistake and say, no, you're not. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to talk about it. They're your child. They're your children. Love them. Listen to them. You don't have to wholeheartedly agree, but you have to accept it because doing anything different is going to make your child not like you, want to be around you,
Resentment.
resent you. It's going to hurt them. It's going to damage them. It's okay to give your view, but give it in a positive, not a negative light. Be there and support them because in my eyes, in my opinion, for a parent to do anything different is not parenting. You got to be there for them. Don't have to like it, but you got to be there for them, and you have to respect their decision.
Yes. Paige, what would you like to leave our audience with?
Yeah, I would just say, whether you are in the church or in the LGBT community or both, I would just say to love your neighbor as yourself. To remember that God has created each and every person that we come in contact with, whether you agree with it or not, whether they're the same race, sexual orientation, anything, financial status or not. It's really about love. And you get to, it's through a conversation. If you don't have relational equity with someone, of course they're not going to listen to you or your perspective or point of view. And we talked about it today, but everybody wants to be heard.
Yes.
And so the biggest thing is listen and love.
Listen.
If you, whether you agree or not, if you listen to those around you and you love on those around you, and leave the rest up to God,
Yeah,
we'll be in a better place.
Much better place.
that's good. That's good. So I want to say, we talked earlier. We know that we have a lot of young people that steps into that dark shadow of suicide. And so I just want to say, if there's someone out there that is in need of help, help is available. So you can dial 988 if you're needing to speak to someone. If you're in a place where you just feel like all is gone, there's someone out there to help you, to revive, to give your voice back, to give you your life back. And hold on to God.
Come on.
Yeah.
He's good.
Hold on to that.
Be there for you.
Hold
every
on to
time.
it no matter what. So if you are just tuning in, thank you. We're at the end of our hour. We've been talking about the LGBT community and their identities and their faith, what it looks like. So you can go back and you can watch the replay on the KBOB page and the Perspective page. Share it, tell people about it. This was a great conversation. I definitely enjoyed these young ladies that are here in the studio. And, if you all want to reach out to them really quick, how can they follow you?
I am on Facebook as Jackie Verner. Um, yeah, I do Facebook. Or
Okay.
if you just want to call and talk, parent to parent, you can call me at 918-972-2681. If I don't answer, leave a message. I'll get back with you.
Okay.
Yes, and
That was brave.
come on. I was gonna say I might not give my number. But you can reach out to me at Paige Patton on Facebook. I'm on YouTube at Paige Patton, and Instagram at the Paige Patton. And so I'm able to talk. I also have a ministry called DeliverHER. You can follow that on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, ladies,
Thank
for
you so
being
much.
here.
Yeah,
Thank you
this
so
was
much.
great.
Absolutely love the conversation. Like I said, if you are just tuning in, go back and watch it. Make sure you share it. And as always, thank you for your support to the KBOB station. This is a platform where we're giving a voice to the voiceless, where we're telling stories our way, and we're not looking at you crazy because
Come on.
you telling your story.
Real love.
You
Real
know.
love.
And so if you would like to support the station, definitely reach out. You can go to KBOB899.com. You can make a donation there, or you can come to the station. Mr. Eden likes to talk and gives history lessons about this North Tulsa community. So support, support, support. Thank you guys again for tuning into The Perspective. I'm Jen Brown, and we will see you guys next week.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The all new KBOB 89.9 FM, Black on Black Community Radio.
KBOB